Welcome to the Assets, Controls and Risk Management tutorial. Today we will discover our dedicated asset module to understand the risk chain, which gives you a deeper view in the hierarchy of asset dependencies. Here you can quickly configure the primary assets direct supporting assets, or simply link supporting assets to primary and other assets. Opening the graph view allows you to drill down dependencies. The Governance tab on a document allows you to define how it will behave and interact with other documents, such as setting it as an asset, risk or control, with risk type specific impact and consequence configurations. This risk type has three measures, for which you can then define the expected consequences per category when impact occurs, resulting in the max impacts per measure. Below this, you will find the list of risks linked to this asset, for which you can then quickly open the risk details. The risk view visualizes the evolution of this risk in time. Notice the colors indicating the remaining work, which will be shown in more detail later. To add a new reading on this risk, we click on the Add New Reading, which will ask us which of the two types of risk readings we want to use. The simple risk readings allows you to simply record your risk evaluation at any given time. You set different measures based on your methodology, which then calculates the new risk position based on the configurable risk type formula. The remaining work colors shown before can be configured on each reading. Each has a multiplier from 5 to 0, which we multiply with the risk evaluation. For example, a non-treated open risk of 8 is multiplied by 5, resulting in a remaining work of 40, while the same treated risk waiting for acceptance is only multiplied by 1, resulting in a remaining work of only 8. These remaining work colors are then shown on the risk matrix to quickly see what to focus on. The risk evolution graph uses this remaining work. You see when new risks were added, how they reduced over time, and how planned mitigations will reduce your overall risk in the future. Optionally, you can also configure your target measures, resulting in a risk level that is acceptable for your business. In this section you can add documents, screenshots or other justifications on this reading to keep a full audit trace, combined with configurable risk properties such as owner, actions and risk origin and type. Now let's introduce the second way of doing risk readings. Here you will use the earlier shown asset impacts to define the inherent risk impact without applying controls. You can link controls to your risk, and if the control has a sufficient maturity you will see it in the active controls, which will reduce the inherent risk. This will result in the new residual risk reading shown on the risk matrix. Any planned controls that are not implemented or sufficiently mature will be used to calculate the target risk. Now let's see how these risk readings are visualized on the Asset Risk tab. In this risk table you see the selected asset on the left, then its maximum impacts, the linked risk, then the initial or inherent risk reading, followed by current or residual risks taking active controls into consideration. And last, you see the target risk we aim for. Now let's select a primary asset and we instantly visualize the whole risk chain of selected and supporting assets. This current, residual risk table can be sorted, so you immediately understand what to focus on next. Controls linked to risk type 2 readings are shown here. Now let's move to the risk matrix module, where we'll get an even better overview on our actual risks. After selecting the risk type, we get an overview of all risks independent of their assets. Here you can filter on the level of severity of the risk, the remaining work on the risk or the status of the tasks planned on the workbench for the risks. The risk matrix shows all important information together. By hovering over a risk you see their name, as well as initial, current and target risk levels. If you want to show off to management how their money is well spent, you can use the risk evolution graph shown before. It visualizes when new risks were added, how they evolved in time and what is planned for the future. Knowing that this risk matrix and evolution can also be shown per department, service or business unit, you can quickly see how our solution will give you an unprecedented view on your business risk posture and mitigation planning. Now, to finalize this video, let's see how you can fully customize your risk types to your needs. To start with, you can change the risk matrix scale at any time without impacting the data. At the start you might prefer a 3x3, but maybe you evolve to a 10x10 for more granularity. Depending on your preference, you can use sequential risk values per cell, which ensures all cells are unique and puts more weight on impact than on probability. Alternatively, you can use the classic impact multiplied by probability. The risk appetite levels can be fully customized in color. Here you can modify the text shown in the different cells. And here you can modify from what risk value on a specific appetite levels is shown. All levels can also be configured with different risk review frequencies, which will notify you accordingly and makes the risks flash on the risk matrix module. Here you can define the risk methodology to guide your team when they are doing new readings. When you want to manage remaining work on risks from the Workbench Kanban module, this checkbox will link the remaining work to the different Kanban stages and update the risk accordingly when moved. Here you can add the different measures for your risk readings, and define how they will be used to map to the impact and probability axes of the risk matrix. The Asset Impact and Consequence Configuration section allows you to configure the text shown in the Governance section of your assets for this risk type. And to finalize, we end with the possibility to configure mandatory or optional document properties to be asked during each risk reading. We hope you enjoyed this training. Further details can be found in our online documentation.